Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see for today, it's going to be a little bit of a different video. I have no makeup on and I thought I'd really do this in more of a relaxed type setting because I really didn't feel like getting all glammed up at, let's see, it is almost 10 o'clock at night. I didn't feel like getting glammed up, let's be real. But I did want to film this video and it is something different. It's more of a unsolved murder video. I've seen a couple of these going around and I thought they were really cool and interesting, and I'm really interested in unsolved murders just because I just am. I always have been. I love any kind of criminal TV shows, stuff like that. So if you'd like to hear more about this mystery that I'm fixing to tell you about, keep watching. Okay, so at 6:30 a.m. on December 1st, 1948, police were contacted because a person found a body of a man on Somerton Beach. He was found lying in the sand across from the crippled children's home, and he was lying with his head resting against the seawall and his legs extended with his feet crossed. It was believed that he had died while sleeping just from the position he was in, and an unlit cigarette was found on the right collar of his shirt. So it's almost like he fell asleep while fixing to smoke a cigarette, but there was no lighter found. His pockets had an unused rail ticket, a bus ticket, a comb, half a pack of juicy fruit gum, a pack of cigarettes, and a fourth box of matches. And police also noticed that all of the labels of his clothing were removed, which made them think that it was either a suicide or something because he didn't really want to be discovered as to who he was. He was also a very clean-shaven man, and it was thought that he had taken a shower and shaved and everything before coming to this beach, which is kind of unusual. Why would you shower before going to a beach? Which is another reason why police went towards suicide. But that was never confirmed that it was a suicide, and his identity was never found. The case got its name, the Tamàm Shud, from a piece of paper that was later found in the man's pants that was sewn into a fob pocket that read the words Tamàm Shud, which in Persian means ended or finished. Okay, so after this case had reached news, many witnesses started coming forward saying that they saw this man the night before. He was last seen moving the night before around 7:30 p.m. A witness said they saw him extend his arm and then it went limp. And then another couple came forward and said around 8 to 8:30 they watched the man for about 30 minutes just lie there and he didn't really move. They thought he was just drunk or passed out. I personally would have went and checked on him, but they didn't. And those were really the only witnesses that came forward. One more witness came forward saying that they saw a well-dressed man carrying another man over his shoulder and was carrying him to the beach, but he never followed up with it. He never really saw where they went. And this kind of would make sense because the autopsy report showed that he had very clean shoes. Like there was no scuff marks, no dust or anything, which was unusual for someone walking along a beach. So this would make sense as to why this witness saw this man carrying another man over his shoulders. So maybe he was dead and then brought to this place to be discovered. Who knows? Okay, so the autopsy report showed that his last meal was eaten 3 hours before death, and it was a pastry, but the pastry failed to have any foreign substances in it, like poisons or anything like that. And the coroner and the guy that does the autopsy didn't think this was a natural death. They thought he was poisoned. His positive identity was never confirmed, and his body was embalmed on December 10th, 1948. Okay, so Coroner Cleland's inquest commenced a few days after the body was found, but was paused until June 17th, 1949. So a whole 6 months later, his research was able to pick back up. He made many more discoveries then, such as the shoes that I was speaking about earlier, and that none of the witnesses could confirm that the man the coroner had was the man that they saw on the beach. They couldn't say, yes, that is definitely him. No one could confirm that. Cedric Hicks, the professor of physiology and pharmacology, testified that a group of drugs referred to at the time of number 1 and number 2 were extremely toxic in very small doses. So this could have been in the man's body and it never would have picked up in a toxicology report, but it would have been fatal. And no cause of death was ever determined. Okay, so after this inquest was concluded, he was buried in West Terrace Cemetery in 1949. And years after he was buried, flowers began appearing on his grave, which was kind of strange. So police kind of followed this up and waited around to see who was leaving the flowers. And it was actually a woman, and they asked her about it, and she said they had no relation to him. They didn't know who he was. They just came and left flowers on random graves all the time. So that really went nowhere. Okay, on January 14th, 1949, a suitcase at the Adelaide Railway Station was discovered in a closet. It had been checked in on November 30th. So 2 days before the man was discovered, it was checked into this cloakroom around 11 a.m. It was believed to have belonged to the man simply because the contents of the suitcase had no labels as well. There was nothing but clothes, pants, a screwdriver, a table knife, a sharpened pair of scissors, kind of random stuff, kind of weird stuff. But there was also a thread found in the suitcase. It was a Barber brand orange thread, and this was actually the same thread that was used in the man's trousers that had been used to fix a hole or something in the man's pants, which is another reason why they linked to the suitcase and the man, because this was not a normal thread. It was not found in Australia, so that is why they thought that the suitcase was this man's. Okay, so following a public appeal by the police, the book that the page that was found in the man's pants was brought forward, and it was the Rubaiyat of Amar Khayyam, which was a collection of poems. I'm sorry if I just butchered that. But inside the book was a phone number and a secret code. The code was attempted to be deciphered many times, and it never worked. No one was ever able to decipher this code, so no one ever knew what the code was saying. They did follow up on the phone number, and the phone number was a woman, and she claimed to have known nothing, that she didn't know why her number was in the book. She didn't know anything about this man. She went and saw the man's body, and nothing was ever came from that. But that was believed to have been someone I will tell you about in just a minute. March of 2009, Professor Derek Abbott at the University of Adelaide and his team began to try and solve the case by cracking the code and proposing to exhume the body for DNA. Why this wasn't done sooner, I don't know, but he wanted to do that, and his investigation led to many questions regarding the assumptions that the police made. They kind of made it seem as though the police really didn't do their job, that they really just put this case under the rug and didn't really spend as much time in it as they could have. He proposed that the cigarettes that the man had could have been the cause or the source of the poison that killed the man, and police never followed up on that. And he also tracked down where the thread was from, or what the period and where the thread was from, and found packing variations which could have provided clues as to where the man was from, seeing as that would be where he bought the thread from. His investigation also revealed that the man's autopsy reports from 1948 and 49 were missing, and all of Coroner Cleland's notes were non-existent on this case. So they basically made it seem as though this case never happened. Macy Henberg, professor of anatomy at the University of Adelaide, examined images of the man's ears and found that his cymba, which is his upper ear hollow, was larger than his cavum, which is his lower ear hollow, which is a feature only possessed by 1 to 2% of all white population. If police had looked into this sooner, they could have found that they could have pulled pictures of anyone with this exact same defect, and it could have been related to the man. They could have done DNA testing and found the man's identity. He also had hypodontia, which is a rare genetic disorder in the teeth, and that's only present in 2% of all population. So they could have also found other people that had this genetic disorder and done DNA testing to find the man's identity, but that never happened. And in May of 2009, Derek Abbott obtained a photograph of a woman named Jessica Thompson's eldest son, Robin. And Jessica Thompson was believed to be the woman whose phone number was found in the book that the paper came from. But her eldest son had the exact same ears and hypodontia, which means, I mean, that's not a coincidence. He had to have been related to him somehow, because the chance that that's a coincidence is 1 in 20 million. So they had to have been related somehow, and police never followed up on this as well. Abbott believed an exhumation and autosomal DNA testing could link the two together, but Robin Thompson's sister denied access to the body, saying that that would be rude and that would be disturbing her brother's resting, so they were never able to do that. In a 60 Minutes investigation, Robin Thompson's sister Kate came forward November of 2013 and said that her mother was the woman that was interviewed by the police, and her mother had told her that she had lied, that she did know the identity of the man, and the identity of the man was also known to someone higher than the police, meaning government, anything higher than that. And Kate was also suggesting that her mother was a spy because she knew Russian and she taught migrants English. She was also very, very interested in communism, but would never explain why she did all this or how she learned Russian, how she learned all the information she knows. And like I said before, Kate opposed the exhumation of her brother's body because she felt that it was disrespectful to the dead. Public interest in this case remains very significant because the death occurred at a time of heightened international tensions following the beginning of the Cold War. So they all think, or many people believe, that this man was a spy and he was killed because maybe he knew too much about a certain thing, or maybe he was killed by the opposing team. There was the apparent involvement of secret code, which was the code that was found in the book that was never cracked. Possible use of an undetectable poison was used in this case because they never found the cause of death, and the only thing that seems logical would be an undetectable poison, and the inabilities of the police to identify the man. They really didn't try. They wanted to end this case as quickly as possible. They destroyed all the evidence, so it was almost like the police were working with someone to make sure this man was never found. So this case was just crazy to me, seeing as the police really tried to cover it up as much as they could, and I feel like there's just so much more that could have been done to find the identity of this man, but I guess we'll never know unless someone else tries to crack another investigation open. I don't know. But if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and leave in the comments down below what you think may have happened to the man. What are your theories on how the man died? If you'd like to see more of these videos, please let me know, and leave in the comments below also other cases that really interest you. I'd love to get y'all's opinion, and I really would like to continue this series on my channel, so if you'd like to keep seeing it, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and we will see you next time. Bye.